This isn't just a halftime show. This is a case file, a cold case being reopened in front of 100 million witnesses. Kendrick Lamar's 2025 Super Bowl performance of Peekaboo was more than music. It was more than entertainment. It was a coded message, a spiritual autopsy, and a public trial conducted on the world's biggest stage.
Despite me disrespecting him as a man, because I can't respect him as a man.
I can't respect him that I got plastic, bro. Drake look like he got Drake when they got plastic surgery.
Let your core audience stomach that, then tell them where you get your abs from.
And a public trial conducted on the world's biggest stage. Tonight we're breaking down every visual, every lyric, every symbol, every movement, every decision. Because if you know what to look for, if you understand the language Kendrick is speaking, you'll see something extraordinary. You'll see Kendrick turn the biggest stage in America into a memorial for XXXTentacion, a warning to Drake, and a masterclass in layered storytelling that will be studied for generations. But before we dive in, understand this. Nothing in a Kendrick Lamar performance is accidental. Nothing is random. Not the lighting, not the choreography, not the stage placement, not the guest appearances. Every single element is calculated, intentional, symbolic. He's not just performing songs, he's building a narrative, he's constructing a case, and he's presenting it to the jury, that's us, without ever saying the accusation out loud. So let's start from the beginning. Let's examine the evidence. Let's solve this case. Exhibit A, the opening signal. The stadium goes dark. 100 million people holding their breath. The anticipation is electric. This is the moment everyone's been waiting for. And then, suddenly, on the massive screens above the field, an image appears. A PlayStation controller. Specifically, the X button. And it doesn't just appear, it beeps. Once, twice, 3 times. The camera lingers on that X button, holds on it, makes sure you see it, makes sure you count. Triple flash, 3 beeps, 3 X's. XXX. Now, to most viewers at home, this looks like a gamer's Easter egg, a nod to PlayStation, maybe a sponsorship deal, cool visual effect, nothing more. But this is Kendrick Lamar, and Kendrick doesn't do Easter eggs, he does breadcrumbs, he does clues, he does signals. The PlayStation X button beeping 3 times is the opening move in a chess game most people don't even know they're watching. It's the first piece of evidence in a case that's about to unfold in real time. XXXTentacion. The young rapper murdered in Florida in 2018. The rapper whose death has been surrounded by conspiracy theories involving Drake for 7 years. But it goes deeper. Look at the album Kendrick is performing from, GNX. On the surface, it stands for Grand National Experimental, a reference to the Buick Grand National car, a symbol of black excellence and authenticity that Kendrick has been obsessed with. But in this context, in the context of this performance, with the X button beeping 3 times, GNX takes on a double meaning, a hidden meaning. Good night, XXXTentacion. A coded RIP XXX tucked inside the project name itself. The show hasn't even started yet. Kendrick hasn't said a word, and he's already set the tone. He's already told you what this is about, if you're paying attention. This is a memorial. This is a message. This is a trial. Exhibit B, the man under the stars. Now the performance begins. The section titled, I Deserve It All. The stage comes to life. The lighting shifts, and we see a tableau that looks, at first glance, like a typical Compton street scene. There's a group of men gathered under a light pole, the kind of scene you'd see on any corner in South Central Los Angeles. Friends hanging out, community, brotherhood. But then you notice something. One man is lying on top of the pole itself, not standing, not sitting, lying down, horizontal, at rest. And he's looking up, not at the crowd, not at the cameras, up, at the stars, at the moon, at the sky. On the surface, this is a beautiful, poetic image. A man from the streets gazing at the heavens. A moment of peace in a violent world. Classic Kendrick imagery. But look closer, think deeper, because Kendrick always operates on multiple levels. Symbolically, the man on the pole is resting. He's at peace. He's gazing at divine light, God's light, heavenly light, not the man-made spotlight of fame and performance. And here's where it connects. XXXTentacion had a song called Moonlight, one of his biggest hits. A song about reflection, meditation, about looking up, about finding peace. Now contrast that with Drake. Drake has a song called Daylight, and in Daylight, he raps about killing someone in broad daylight, about paying for the body instead of being there himself, about having someone else do the dirty work while he stays clean.
Did you guys hear the diss to X?
Oh, on Daylight?
On Daylight.
Wait,
What did he say? What did he say? So, okay, back this. X has a song called Moonlight. Drake dropped the track called Daylight. It's the total opposite.
Oh,
You guys didn't back that. So obviously everyone knows the in Daylight. X died in a car during day. And then watch. Look at the lyrics. She went to Jung and she caught a body. I wasn't there when they caught the body. Drake obviously was there. Bro said the shooters, and then he said TPS thinks that I bought the body. Internet swear that I bought the body.
I didn't like that.
Because fam, it's the same as the one on I'm Upset.
Yeah.
Yeah, he keeps throwing shots.
Do you think he actually did it, or is it just like a thing?
Do you see what Kendrick is doing here? He's creating a visual contrast, a symbolic opposition. XXX is at peace, looking up at the moon, bathed in God's light. Drake is in the shadows, operating in daylight, but spiritually in darkness, paying others to do violence. One man is at rest with God, the other man is running from God.
So your testimony to this court and to this jury is that you were never on the set of the God's Plan video filmed in Miami in 2018. Is that what you're saying? Yes. Okay. How much money in 2018 did you receive from either Drake or one of Drake's associates?
I never met Drake.
You never met Drake?
No.
Do you know who he is, though, right?
Yes.
Okay. But actually, in 2018, when this crime occurred, you didn't know who X was?
No.
Okay, so in 2018, you're from Broward County, correct?
Yes.
You listen to rap music, correct?
Yes.
And you're telling this jury that you didn't know who literally probably the most famous rapper to ever come out of Broward County was in 2018, in June of 2018. That's your testimony?
Yes.
You had no idea who he was?
Objection asked and
Hang on,
answered
hold on,
several
hold on.
times.
One man is at rest with God. The other man is running from God. And Kendrick presents this without saying a single word about either of them, just through staging, just through symbolism, just through the language of performance art. Exhibit C, Uncle Sam's message. Then comes Uncle Sam, not the cartoon character, not the poster, Samuel L. Jackson himself, appearing on the Jumbotron, dressed as Uncle Sam, looking directly into the camera. And he delivers a message. Two specific lines that seem innocuous at first, but carry enormous weight when you understand the context. First line, the culture cheat code.
Yo, culture cheat code.
Think about what a cheat code is. It's a shortcut. It's a way to win without actually playing the game properly. It's skipping levels, getting rewards you didn't earn, accessing content you're not supposed to have. This is a direct shot at Drake as a culture vulture, someone who steals flows and lyrics, someone who appropriates without giving credit, someone who took from XXXTentacion when XXX was vulnerable, when he was in prison, when he couldn't defend himself or his art.
Drake a fuck nigga. When I was in jail facing life, he's really taking my shit, running off with it, and then putting it on his album.
My doggy got booked for acting like Book. He shot him in. Shot him in daylight. You think I'm finna let you take my shit and not say nothing? Fuck OVO. Tell everybody in OVO suck my dick.
XXX accused Drake of stealing his flow, of using his style without acknowledgement, of being a culture vulture who profits off others' creativity. Kendrick is invoking that history, reminding everyone, calling it out on the world's biggest stage. Second line, scorekeeper, deduct one life.
Scorekeeper, deduct one life.
Drake loves bragging about numbers, about records, about being number one, about having more streams, more hits, more influence than anyone else. He's obsessed with the scoreboard. But in street terminology, in the language of violence, up the score means kill an enemy. Down a score means your side loses someone. The score isn't about chart positions, it's about bodies. Samuel L. Jackson says, deduct one life. And immediately after this line, not 30 seconds later, not during a commercial break, but immediately, Kendrick transitions into Peekaboo inside the X structure.
Scorekeeper, deduct one life.
Samuel Jackson said this right before Kendrick performed Peekaboo in the X spot, which, according to fans, is a reference to XXXTentacion, especially since the X spot was on the 30-yard line, and in Roman numerals, 30 translates to XXX. Some fans also believe Peekaboo is a nod to X's Helping Hand Challenge, since it samples Give Me a Helping Hand by Little Beaver.
Just called the Helping Hand Challenge. Hashtag the Helping Hand Challenge.
And to top it off, Kendrick started the performance sitting just like X did in his 2017 freestyle.
Peekaboo.
What do y'all think of this theory? Comment down below.
It's a visual and narrative handoff. One life taken, one person lost. Now let's play Peekaboo in the X. Now let's reveal what's hidden. Now let's expose the truth. The staging isn't random. The sequencing isn't arbitrary. This is storytelling. This is evidence being presented in order. This is a case being built brick by brick. Exhibit D, the X structure. Now we arrive at the centerpiece, the X stage itself, and this is where the symbolism becomes undeniable. The X isn't just a cool visual design. It's not just a geometric shape that looks good on camera. It's a multi-layered symbol with specific meaning that Kendrick wants you to decode. Look at the structure carefully. There are 3 distinct layers to the X. First layer, people surrounding the X on the outside, looking through glass. Their bodies, their positions, their arrangement forms an X shape when viewed from above. Human outlines creating the first X. Second layer, the glass walls themselves. They're not circular, they're not square. They're arranged in an X shape. Transparent barriers forming the second X. Third layer, the green turf on the floor inside the structure. It's not a solid color, it's cut into an X pattern. The ground itself forms the third X. 3 X's, XXX. Again and again and again, Kendrick is putting this symbol in front of you, making sure you see it, making sure you count it, making sure you understand. But here's the detail that locks it in. The detail that proves this isn't coincidence or creative design. The detail that shows this is intentional and calculated. The X stage is placed on the 30-yard line, not the 50, not the 20, not the 40, the 30. And in Roman numerals, 30 is written as XXX. Do you understand what Kendrick just did? He placed a triple X structure on the XXX yard line. He created a direct numeric echo of XXXTentacion's name on the Super Bowl field in front of 100 million people. This isn't subtle. This is a declaration. This is a memorial. This is Kendrick saying this performance is for X without ever speaking those words. Exhibit E, the corners and the huddles. Now look at the choreography inside the X structure. Look at how the dancers are positioned. Look at the corners. There are 4 corners of the X, basic geometry. But only 3 of those corners have groups of people in them. 3 occupied points, 3 huddles, 3 clusters of bodies, 3 X's. The dancers aren't randomly spread out. They're deliberately clustered in exactly 3 corners, leaving 1 corner empty, creating the visual of 3 X's again. And then, at the end of Peekaboo, as the song concludes and the energy shifts, Kendrick does something specific. He leaves only 1 corner filled. Only 1 group of people remains visible. The visual message, 1 surviving corner. X still lives through us. XXX's legacy continues in the culture. Even though he's gone, his influence remains. His spirit persists. 1 corner lit, 1 legacy alive, 1 memory honored. And then, as soon as Peekaboo ends, the transition happens. The mood shifts, the energy changes, and Kendrick and SZA perform Luther.
Hey, Roman numeral 7.
Roman numeral 7. The opening bar of Luther is crucial. Listen to what Kendrick says. Listen to the specific words he chooses. He starts, "Hey, Roman numeral 7. Stop right there. Why would Kendrick explicitly say Roman numeral 7? Why not just say 7? Why specify the Roman numeral system? Because he's creating a connection. He's building a bridge. He's linking two moments in the performance. He just performed inside the X structure placed at the 30-yard line, XXX in Roman numerals. And now, immediately after, he explicitly invokes another Roman numeral, 7. This isn't random. This is continuation. This is part of the same coded language. 7 is the biblical number of rest and completion. In Genesis, God created the world in 6 days and rested on the 7th. The Sabbath, the day of rest, is the 7th day of the week. In biblical numerology, 7 represents wholeness, perfection, divine rest. So what's Kendrick saying by invoking Roman numeral 7 right after his 30 tribute? Saying, rest in peace. He's giving 30 the spiritual rest he deserves. He's using biblical numerology and field staging to encode a eulogy right in the middle of the Super Bowl halftime show. After the coded XXX tribute, I invoke 7, holy rest, RIPXX. It's layered, it's sophisticated, it's the kind of storytelling that most people will miss on first viewing, but will analyze for years once they understand what's happening. Kendrick continues, if this world was mine, I'd take your dreams and make them multiply. If this world was mine, I'd take your enemies in front of God, introduce them to that light, hit them strictly with that fire. He's not just rapping, he's delivering a spiritual message. He's talking about judgment, about bringing enemies before divine light and fire, about spiritual justice, not just street revenge. This is Kendrick's philosophy. This is his evolution from the angry young man in Compton to the spiritual warrior he is now. He's not advocating violence, he's advocating for truth, for exposure, for letting God handle the judgment. But he's also making it clear, I know who the enemies are, I know who did wrong, and they will face justice, whether in this world or the next. The triangle stage. Now Kendrick and SZA move to a different stage for Luther. Not the X structure, a triangular stage. And again, nothing is random. The triangle isn't just a different geometric shape for visual variety. It's a specific symbol with specific meaning. XXXTentacion, during his spiritual awakening phase before his death, used to make a triangle hand sign. His fans interpreted it as representing energy, enlightenment, manifestation, the unknown, and temptation. It was part of his journey toward understanding deeper spiritual truths. The triangle stage is Kendrick's way of honoring X's spiritual journey, of acknowledging that X was more than just a troubled young rapper. He was someone searching for meaning, someone trying to evolve, someone who deserved the chance to complete that journey. Kendrick is blending XX's symbolism with his own message of light, fire, and judgment. He's saying, I see the path you were on. I honor the growth you were pursuing, and I'm continuing that spiritual work in my own way. The triangle connects past and present, XX's spirituality and Kendrick's spirituality. Two artists on similar journeys, separated by violence. The 3 X's. Now let's talk about the X's. The former romantic partners, because this is where the symbolism gets even more pointed. Serena Williams appears during the performance. Tennis superstar, cultural icon, and Drake's ex-girlfriend. SZA is performing Luther with Kendrick, one of the biggest R&B stars in the world, and also someone who dated Drake. That's 2 ex-girlfriends of Drake. 2 women who were romantically involved with him and are now part of Kendrick's Super Bowl performance. Add in the X stage set on the 30-yard line, XXX, XXXTentacion. That's 3 X's, 3 people that Drake allegedly did wrong. 2 romantic, women he dated and moved on from. 1 fatal, a young rapper who ended up murdered under suspicious circumstances with Drake's name attached to conspiracy theories. The message Kendrick is sending is crystal clear. This is for X, all 3 X's, and I know what you did. Serena and SZA aren't just there for star power, they're there for symbolism. They're part of the narrative, they're evidence in the case. But here's the genius and the self-protection in Kendrick.
You actually just revealed that damn was meant to be listened to backwards. I saw that on the internet when it came out, and I tried it, but I didn't know that was a real thing. Like, how do people even find stuff like that out, bro?
Man, I got some of the most dedicated fans. They wild. They be on top of everything. They listening close, the music, the lyrics, and they figure it out.
Peekaboo. So one of the craziest breakdowns and deep dives that has come out of this Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef, I have avoided talking about on this channel because it's pretty emotional to me.
This shit means something to me, man.
This is like fan fiction. This is like fan fiction that you see in like Star Wars and all these other sagas and series that are like entertainment properties. GTA has them. There's so much lore to even a video game like GTA. There's so much lore to Harry Potter and Star Wars and all these different entertainment properties, and that's how I feel about this.
If you notice the backup dancers, what did they have?
Did they have that?
A split of black, and they also had red.
Like, it's a breakdown to me where people on GNX, when he goes crazy, scary, spooky, hilarious, at the end of TV Off, that is Lefty Gunplay. Crazy is Euphoria. Scary is 616 in LA. Spooky is Meet the Grams, and hilarious is Not Like Us. So if you look at them in that order, crazy, scary, spooky, hilarious, that's the reason why he says that. It doesn't really make sense until you look at how Kendrick kind of went through the phases and the waves of those songs. There's a lot of deep dives that I could dive into with this. Even the mention of the wires in your circle should trouble you. If you were street smart, then you would know that your entourage was only to hustle you. The Wire, Entourage, the last one was Euphoria, HBO shows. Like, there's a lot more that I can actually pull out of it. And one of the ones that I said was the most important is the connection to Drake and XXXTentacion. Peekaboo. One of the most underrated and misrepresented and misinterpreted lyrics on Euphoria was, "We ain't gotta get personal. This is a friendly phrase. You should keep it that way."
I know some shit about niggas that make gonna wanna look like a saint.
Now, even Drake misread this and said, you talking about paperwork, where's the paperwork? My theory was, and my theory still is to this day, and it was confirmed in Not Like Us. This theory is he's not talking about Drake. He said, I know some shit about niggas that make gonna wanna look like a saint. Basically, I know some things that if I told you guys, if I spread it to the world, I would be snitching. Peekaboo. I would be snitching, especially from the code of ethics that Kendrick comes from, which is Compton, the streets, this, that, and the third. He's been affiliated with different he's been affiliated with different street organizations, different community activists, community organization groups. So if he was to say these things, he would be the snitch, not Drake. And I think a lot of people misinterpret this, but this was confirmed to me on Not Like Us when he said, the rabbit hole is still deep. I can go further, I promise. Ain't that something? The funny thing is, a lot of these theories and a lot of these videos, y'all might be tired of them, but these are things that I have been telling and I've been yelling into my wife's ear on them sweaty nights, just like the baseball meme. That has been me. And now that everybody is gravitating towards the song Peekaboo and they're linking all these different connections, him standing on top of the car at the Super Bowl.
Your religion, your pastor fuck kids and got sent to a prison in PC. I seen the devil, he's in you women, you need saving to listen to this, see.
The energy only circulate through us. Everybody must be judged. But this time God only favoring us.
This lyric, that lyrics, the helping hand challenge.
Yourself, you know, a brother helping hand. Right. Well, people remember before XXXTentacion died, he was given, yes, he was doing the helping hand challenge.
This is something that I have straight, and I'm getting goosebumps talking about it now, because if you go even on my Twitter, I don't even think that's so much on my Twitter, I probably can't even delete it, but I've had sweaty nights of me linking all of these different things about how XXX posted this and XXX posted that, the whole I'm Upset song and the 50,000 on my head is disrespect, the 100,000 on my head, that is, they were beefing, and I was watching it live, and I was an extreme XXX fan. Even when XXX died, there were only 3 major artists to come out and pay respects to X on Twitter. And at the time, they all 3 were not really on good terms with Aubrey Graham. The 3 artists that came out is Kanye West. I know. Kanye West came out and said, R.I.P., we loved you, you were great. J. Cole, now remember, this was 2018. Drake was kicking Kanye's back in, and it was still a little weary about if him and J. Cole, a couple of lines on a couple of the records, were actually about Drake. They didn't really come together. Drake didn't really put his arm around him until after the 21. How many faking their streams, getting their placement machines. I've broken that down in videos before because I personally think J. Cole was talking about Drake, and they were having a little bit of beef. If you go look back at those albums before the I Am Greater Than song, before 2018, 2019, they were kind of like getting at each other. So he wasn't on speaking terms with him. And then the last person, of course, was Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar was very adamant to Spotify, if y'all take his music down, I'm taking my music down.
And then specific, thank you, Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar went to bat for this guy.
Now, less than a month after announcing a hateful conduct policy, Spotify is basically backtracking. They're doing the moonwalk. But Kendrick Lamar and a couple other musicians said, yo, we might have to take our music off Spotify. Now we hear XXXTentacion basically saying, thank you, Kendrick Lamar, for sticking up for me. And
he went to bat for him. And it's funny because one thing Drake could never link within the beef with his allegations that he laid upon Kendrick was his support for XXXTentacion, which RIP to the man, but he had a lot of DV, domestic on his jacket. He had, a girlfriend that had, some pictures and things like that. Drake can't really fully dive into that without mentioning that kid's name. And one thing he has managed to do is not mention that kid's name, but he has subliminally dissed him for a very long time. Peekaboo. I'm not here insinuating that he had something to do with the death of XXXTentacion, but it is clear to everybody who was paying attention that he alluded to it, he disrespected him, and he made fun of him throughout his career so far since his death. He's made fun of this. This has been in the theories and the blog communities for a long time. Yes, the helping hand challenge was a thing. XXX was pressuring Drake and bigger artists to actually do something. So Drake, being the person that he is, while a lot of people in Toronto were very upset with him because he went to Miami in order to troll X and he gave out the money in the God's Plans video. He's done a few things, right? They started off beefing because the KMT. X posted a picture of his mom. X posted a picture of Drake with on his face with on his face. There was a lot of beef. XXX went on IG stories and said, I have $100,000 for Drake's head. Thus the song I'm Upset, and thus the song SMS send my XXX. That's the only time I want to shoot you on the leg. Why you keep on shooting when you know that you're dead? Gun sound. I think that was Thug on the back. This is what's been going on. Like I said, if he didn't have anything to do with it, there's been a case. The case popped back up after he was going to sue UMG and all of this talk was coming out. That case popped back up and they reopened it. There's a lot that goes into that theory, and it's I've been trying my hardest to not talk about it, but like I said, Kendrick was alluding to that from the beginning, and I think I even tweeted about this. I be tweeting, I be out there, whatever. I'm just now starting to get a platform, so I know people are like, man, I'm tired of these videos. A lot of these conversations are sweaty conversations that I've been having with my wife for years. This Kendrick Lamar Drake beef did not make me start looking at Drake different. I was probably one of the first Drake fans to be like, nah, this ain't it, and I had to burn some candles, man, because when you start talking about stuff like this, it's spooky.
crazy, scary, spooky, hilarious.
I have a lot of these theories, like even on the Heart Part 6, I have a theory. Well, not a theory, but Kendrick loves Phil Jackson. There's plenty of videos of him talking about Phil Jackson.
And I'm foul. Like an elbow intended. In the game to win it, even if it's a scrimmage. You can get coached right now. Black Phil Jackson, Max and Cool.
If Phil Jackson came back, still no coaching Mick. I'm uncoachable. Punch plays Phil Jackson in my early practices.
I'm pretty sure Kobe Being Bryant is his favorite player. I think it's his favorite team is TDE. Studio filled with Jack in the Box. Filled with Jack in the Box. And then he also talks about we was watching World Star, not the ESPYs, laughing at B Pumper. Drake actually was the host of the ESPY.
Good evening and welcome to the 2014 ESPY Awards. Make some noise for yourself.
Around that time is when the Control verse came out, and I'm pretty sure Kendrick was probably still hungry during those days, even though I'm pretty sure at that point he had Good Kid, Mad City, but I still think like those were real still heavy TDE days. When the Control verse came out, Drake went to Marcellus Wiley and he started dissing him.
Drake came on our show, Sports Nation, and it turned into him
going at Kendrick Lamar and really going at Kendrick Lamar, saying, man, come on, man, I'm me and he's him, and all like he just sunning him.
So, and Drake threatened that if you guys don't get rid of this footage, I'm going to not host the ESPYs.
Drake just called again. He said, if we air that interview, he's not hosting the ESPYs.
It's a lot of deep dives. Kendrick was getting at him in so many different ways. So this line on Euphoria is one of the most slept on, misinterpreted lines. Kendrick knows something about Drake, and if he exposed it, he would be looked at in hip-hop worse than Gunna Wanna. I know some shit about niggas that would make Gunna Wanna look like a saint. Not, I know that you guys are snitches, and if it wasn't that, you always gotta understand, Kendrick is very calculated. So, you know, I've been avoiding this topic for a while. I am so happy that people are having that conversation for me, because honestly, I was a huge fan of XXXTentacion. You know, I'm a lyrics guy, and I don't really like a lot of these new kids. XXX was one of those first new age kids, and maybe the only one that I really gravitated towards. I didn't gravitate towards Lil Peep and Perp Smoke and even Juice WRLD. I've said that before. I didn't gravitate towards these guys, but I gravitated towards him because I liked his style of rock and the way he influenced so many different things, and it felt genuine. And his energy was very captivating. His style was very captivating. He had a lot of that fake woke deep stuff that I like, you know, because even if you fake deep, I like it. You know what I'm saying? You could be fake gangster or you could be fake deep. And you know, even though he had a lot of trials and tribulations in his life, I really resonated with the music. And 17 and Question Mark they went number one. The boy was a force to be reckoned with. So out of respect for him, I've stayed away from that. Out of respect for everybody involved, because I do come from a code of conduct, and certain things, you know, you don't want to try to allude to somebody going to prison. All of this is allegedly, all of this is fan fiction. Peekaboo. But that guy, Drake, he definitely played with it, and he definitely ran with it. The assassination tour, you know, you can go watch Thought Crimes. You can go watch plenty of the deep dives out there about this conversation. I'm happy it is coming to the forefront, because there's still a lot that I know for a fact people are not uncovering and people are missing when it comes to the entire breakdown of what this beef was, what this beef is, the peekaboo, the performance. I'm so happy that there's other people out there to have this conversation. So do you think Kendrick knows something? Do you think peekaboo and all of these things are leading back to a conversation about XXXTentacion?
But here's the genius and the self-protection in Kendrick's strategy. He never says Drake's name. He never makes a direct accusation. He never points the finger explicitly. Why? Because if he openly accuses Drake of involvement in XXX's murder without airtight, concrete, court-admissible evidence, he risks multiple things. First, he could be labeled a snitch. In hip-hop culture, making accusations to authorities or publicly without proof carries serious consequences. It damages your credibility. It makes you look desperate. It makes you look like you're reaching. Second, Drake could beat any case if it's not solid. If Kendrick makes a direct accusation and Drake can disprove it or show there's no evidence, it backfires. Kendrick looks foolish. Drake looks vindicated. The narrative flips. Third, there are legal, political, and artistic risks. Defamation lawsuits, career damage, industry backlash, loss of respect. So instead, Kendrick does something smarter. He leaves signs. He plants symbols. He creates narrative breadcrumbs. He lets the fans and the culture figure it out. He lets the internet connect the dots. He lets the conspiracy theory breathe and grow organically. He weaponizes plausible deniability. If confronted, he can say, it's just art, just staging, just conceptual design. You're reading too much into it. But the message is there, clear as day, for anyone willing to see it, for anyone who understands the language. The evidence summary. Let's recap everything we've uncovered. Let's lay out the evidence in order. Let's see the full picture. The PlayStation Controller X beeps 3 times at the opening. XXX, the signal that starts everything. The GNX album title. Grand National Experimental on the surface. Good Night XXXTentacion in the subtext. The memorial hidden in plain sight. The man on the pole looking at the moon. XXX's Moonlight versus Drake's Daylight. Peace versus violence. Heaven versus shadows. Uncle Sam, Samuel L. Jackson, delivering 2 key lines. The culture cheat code. Drake as culture vulture. Scorekeeper, deduct 1 life. 1 person killed, now let's play peekaboo. The X stage structure with 3 layers. People forming an X. Glass walls forming an X. Turf floor forming an X. triple confirmation of the symbol. The X stage placed on the 30-yard line. XXX in Roman numerals. Direct numeric echo of the name. 3 corners of the X filled with huddles. 3 occupied points. 3 X's represented in choreography. After Peekaboo ends, only 1 corner remains filled. XXX's legacy lives on through the culture. Luther opening with Roman numeral 7, biblical number of rest and completion. RIP XXX encoded in numerology. The triangle stage for Luther. XXX's spiritual hand symbol, honoring his journey toward enlightenment. Serena Williams and SZA, 2 of Drake's ex-girlfriends, appearing in the performance, plus XXX on the 30-yard line. 3 X's Drake did dirty. Every single piece fits. Every single element connects. This isn't pattern recognition going wild. This isn't fans seeing things that aren't there. This is intentional, calculated, layered storytelling from one of the greatest artists of our generation. The verdict. Kendrick's Super Bowl performance isn't just a show. It's not just entertainment. It's not just a musical moment. It's a layered, symbolic case file. It's evidence presented to the public. It's a trial conducted in front of 100 million witnesses. It's a memorial to XXXTentacion, a young artist taken too soon, a troubled soul seeking peace and enlightenment, a voice silenced by violence. It's an indirect indictment of Drake, not explicit, not provable in court, but clear to anyone paying attention, clear to anyone who understands the symbols. It's a spiritual reckoning, a call for justice, not street justice, but divine justice, bringing enemies before God's light and fire, letting truth and karma handle what humans cannot. It's a cultural reset, a reminder that hip-hop is more than entertainment. It's art, it's storytelling, it's warfare, it's revolution. It's a challenge to the entire industry, a demonstration that you can say everything without saying anything, that you can present a case without filing charges, that you can honor the dead and call out the guilty simultaneously. Kendrick never says Drake's name during the entire performance. Not once. He never points the finger directly. He never makes an explicit accusation that could be used against him. But every detail tells the story. Every lyric carries meaning. Every stage move is a sign. Every visual is evidence. He's telling you, pay attention, look closer, think deeper. The truth is in the symbols. The message is in the subtext. The case is being presented right in front of you. The revolution is being televised, but only if you know how to watch. Only if you understand the language. Only if you're willing.